चलो।
Hello friends, welcome back to our channel SG Gupta and Company. I, CA Shilpa Goyal, along with Hiren Vora, will be discussing with you what are the changes in the refund to be claimed by an exporter. First, let me introduce you to our speaker, Mr. Hiren Vora. Hiren Vora is a chartered accountant and has a post-qualification work experience of nearly 8 years. Over the period, he has gained experience in the field of indirect taxation and has worked now in core indirect taxation for more than 7 years. During the crucial days of GST being introduced, he has supported a number of clients with the understanding the impact, mapping changes in the ERPs, and also in structuring their business to help them be GST compliant. With an experience of over 5 years while working with Deloitte, where he has last served as a manager, he is now associated with Nextem Private Limited, formerly known as SKP, and works there as a manager. His core areas of expertise are manufacturing, banking, and oil and gas sector. Over to you, Hiren. Please take the topic for the day.
Thanks, Shilpa. Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a good day. So today's topic of discussion, as Shilpa is saying, is refunds in case of exporter. Now, this particular section is only for exporter of goods and not for services. So, a few days back, the government has come out with a new amendment wherein there has been a layer of catch for the refund for claiming refunds in case of exporters for goods. So we'll be discussing that. But before going into the nitty-gritties of the amendment, let me just clarify a few of the topics or areas of what we'll be discussing today. So, as most of you will be knowing, GST is charged on supplies of goods as well as services. So now, what is a supply? Supply is nothing but anything which is a sale, transfer, barter, disposal, anything made for a consideration. Of course, there are many other items which even without a consideration are considered supply. But here we'll be focusing only on sales part. Now, when you sell something outside India or to a special economic zone, that is SEZ, the sales is considered, or that supply is considered to be zero rated supplies. So whenever I say zero rated supplies, it is nothing but export of goods for this particular discussion. And whenever you sell outside India, definitely you will be earning foreign exchange. Now the benefit of earning foreign exchange is कि आपकी government जो आपको बोलती है कि चलो आपने हमारे लिए foreign exchange लेके आए हो, so we will give you some benefit which we don't generally give to other suppliers. So benefit, when I say, it is something in kind of refund. Either you don't pay tax on your sales which you make outside India, and instead whatever input tax credit is used to make these sales outside India or export, उसका आपको refund दिया जाएगा, या फिर आपको tax भरना है अपने exports पे and you get a refund of that. So this particular amendment which has come is for the first thing, that is sales without paying tax under a letter of undertaking, where the supplier is able to claim credit of his input tax credits. So that input tax credit he will be getting as a refund. Now, under the rules of GST, you have to. There are number of rules, for maybe export of refund for input tax credit against exports, refund of outward tax paid. आपने गलती से tax भर दिया तो उसका आप refund लेना चाहो तो वो ले सकते हो. Then you have inverted duty structure. That is जब आपका input tax जो है वो आपके output से ज़्यादा होता है. In that case also you get a refund. So here the particular rule which we will be looking into is rule 89.1 and 89.4. 89.1 is very simple. You have to file a form called RFD01. That form is online. You have to file certain documents along with the form to claim refund. But here there is a particular formula which the government has given us. Now there would be people who would be supplying goods locally as well as they would be doing an export. Generally they don't have a segregation कि इतना मेरा input tax credit जो है या इतना मेरा expenses है that is for exports and ये expenses है मेरे for domestic sales. So generally that is one single input tax credit का ledger and one balance, single balance. So उसमें से to derive the amount of input tax credit which you will be getting as refund for exporting of goods, for that you have to undergo a certain formula. So that formula is the one which you can see over here. The formula is refund amount is nothing but turnover of zero rated supply of goods plus turnover of zero rated supply of services divided by adjusted total turnover into net input tax credit. Now, each of these terms, ये भले ऐसे बड़े-बड़े terms दिख रहे हैं, actually they are simple to understand. So here, net ITC, net input tax credit means input tax credit for that given period. The period can be 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever. Earlier, it was not allowed to bunch two different years or months from different years, but अभी तो वो भी allowed है. तो नेट आईटीसी फॉर अ गिवन पीरियड, जो भी पीरियड का रिफंड क्लेम करना चाहते हो वो पीरियड का आपको यहाँ पे नेट आईटीसी कंसिडर करना है. सेकेंड थिंग इज टर्नओवर ऑफ जीरो रेटेड सप्लाई ऑफ सर्विस. एज द टर्म गोज, इट इज नथिंग बट द टोटल सर्विसेज का टर्नओवर फॉर एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स in that given period. Now, the formula actually, the actual formula for export of services ka turnover is a bit different, and we are not discussing it over here as the matter is not really related to that. Now here comes the main part, that is turnover of zero rated supply of goods. Uh, Now again, the term here is simple to understand. It is nothing but the total of exports which you have made during a given period, and adjusted total turnover is nothing but 2 plus 3 in very simple language and very simple understanding. So अभी आप ये देख के सोच रहे होगे कि ये तो बहुत सिंपल है, इसमें तो कुछ हार्ड है नहीं, अगर किसी को मैथ आता है तो he can do it. But here there is a small catch. The discussion that we were currently making was for a period prior to 23rd March, but with effect from 23rd March बाकी सब तो सेम रह रहा है, but ये जो थर्ड पार्ट है, that third part is getting a bit more complicated. Here what they are saying, you consider the turnover of your exports in a given period and then match that turnover with your local turnover. So if your turnover of exports is 1.5 times exceeding the turnover of local sales, तो आपको 1.5 times of local sale ही आपका export turnover treat करना है. Okay, we'll understand these things one by one, and we'll see how it goes by way of illustrations. Okay, one thing which I want you to keep in your mind, जो हम आगे discuss करेंगे, is अभी ये जो fourth point है, जैसे मैं आपको पहले बोल रहा था, is nothing but a total of 2 and 3. Now that might not be a case in future, because the turnover of the meaning of adjusted total turnover is not changing over here. Okay, so let's go to the new slide. Now, how to interpret this amendment is a big challenge today around, and people are having different set of thoughts around it. So one school of thought says कि आपको turnover से turnover match करना है. So I'll give you a simple example. There's a dealer who is selling mobile phones in India. Suppose he is selling mobiles worth rupees 1 lakh in India, and the same dealer is selling mobiles worth rupees 10 lakhs outside India. There are number of pieces. ऐसा नहीं कि एक ही mobile 1 lakh है. There are few pieces, say 10 pieces है, each piece costing 10,000. तो वो 1 लाख हो गया इंडिया का, and 10 lakhs है, मतलब 100 pieces he is selling outside India. Now what will happen? One school of thoughts would recommend कि जो इंडिया का टोटल टर्नओवर है इज 1 लाख into 1.5 times should be my value of export of goods. तो एक तरह से देखें हम तो थोड़ा लॉजिकल नहीं लगता है, क्योंकि इन अ वे इट इज नथिंग बट सप्रेसिंग आवर एक्सपोर्ट. गवर्नमेंट ऐसा तो नहीं बोल सकती हमको कि आप लोकल सेल्स ही करिए, हम आपको रिफंड नहीं देंगे सिर्फ इसलिए क्योंकि आपका लोकल सेल्स इज मच लोअर देन योर एक्सपोर्ट सेल्स. So that doesn't seem to be a very practical approach, because it also leaves us with a couple of questions like अगर वो जो supplier है, अगर if he was not supplying any goods in India, या फिर वो जो goods बेच रहा है, if there were no similar goods being supplied in India, तो क्या उसका export turnover हम zero लेंगे, even after the fact that he is actually earning export for India and foreign exchange for India? So that would leave us puzzled all across. There is another school of thoughts, or another way to look at it, a bit more practical, and something which industry guys can also implement. That is, you consider the price per good, price per product in the local market, and compare it with the price per unit in the export markets or global markets. If the price per unit is more than 1.5 times, then restrict it to 1.5 times. Otherwise, it's okay. I mean, if it is 130% of your local price, तो ठीक है चलेगा. 150 तक भी चलेगा, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, तो हम आपको capping करवाएंगे. Now, why I'm saying it looks more practical? Let me give you another side of the story, or why this amendment could have been brought by the government. So, see, आप ये हम डिस्कस जो कर रहे हैं, इट इज रिगार्डिंग इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट. इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट कब होता है? जब हम एक्सपेंस इनकर करते हैं फॉर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग आवर गुड्स. ओके, सो द मोबाइल विच वाज गेटिंग मैन्युफैक्चर्ड इन इंडिया and being sold in India, let's say in our example, it is costing the manufacturer 5,000 rupees. The same phone, when I am selling outside India, its expense will not change. The expenses will remain the same. मतलब उसका भी 5,000 रुपीज ही होगा जब मैं उसको एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा हूँ. दैट कॉस्ट इज स्टिल 5,000 रुपीज, राइट? सो द कॉस्ट इन इंडिया एंड कॉस्ट फॉर ग्लोबल प्रोडक्ट इज सेम. तो फिर जस्ट in an example, if I am selling that global product at say 20,000 rupees or 30,000 rupees, and same product I am selling in India at 10,000 rupees, then there is a parity between the Indian sales and a manufacturer is selling goods in India, and this guy who is selling at a greater price outside India and earning more refunds. तो लोग क्या करेंगे? अपना रिफंड का वैल्यू बढ़ाने के लिए सिर्फ अपने एक्सपोर्ट्स को हायर प्राइस पे कोट करके related entities को बेच सकते हैं. So here the government is saying, yes, you are earning foreign exchange for the country. That is why we are giving you refund, but we cannot give you a refund on a very high scale. It will be curbed. 100 नहीं, हम 150% तक तुमको देते हैं, but उससे ज्यादा आप एडवांटेज मत लेना. आप सिर्फ बेनिफिट लो, don't take advantage. So by that means, if we see in the example that we were quoting, that person is selling 10 products in India at 10,000 each, so 1 lakh हुआ, and he is selling 100 products outside India at 10,000 each, इसलिए वो 10 lakh हुआ. So we will not in this example curb that 10 lakh to 1 lakh 50,000. Why? Because per value जो per unit value जो है Indian price और per unit value of global price is same, 10,000 rupees. Okay, so I'm sure it is clear, but let's understand it by way of a written example so that it can be stored in our minds and we can use it as a reference in future. So here if you see, there are three scenarios, scenario 1, 2, 3. अभी सारे सिनेरियोज में अगर आप देखेंगे तो इंडिया का जो सेल प्राइस है विल बी सेम. द सेल लोकल सेल प्राइस इज 15 रुपीज, और इंडिया में 100 यूनिट सेल होगा, आउटसाइड इंडिया 2000 यूनिट सेल होगा. ओके, सो इन फर्स्ट सिनेरियो क्या होता है? जो हमारा 15 रुपीज है इंडियन सेल प्राइस, द मैन्युफैक्चरर इज सेलिंग in global markets at the same price, 15 rupees. Okay, so pre change या post change of this rule will not have an impact on his total turnover or adjusted total turnover. Okay, it remains the same. Let's go to scenario 2. यहाँ पे भी क्या हो रहा है? He is selling at 20 rupees. Okay, so let's see whether 20 rupees is exceeding the 150% of 15 rupees or not. So 15 का 150% या 1.5 times is 22.5 rupees. So as you can see, 20 is definitely lesser than 22.5. So again यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कि मेरा जो adjusted total turnover है और मेरा जो export turnover है उसमें कोई भी चेंज नहीं आया है. ओके, नाउ लेट्स कम टू द थर्ड एग्जांपल. यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? माय प्राइस पर यूनिट इज 25 rupees as you can see in global markets, whereas in Indian markets it is 15 rupees. Since 25 is more than 1.5 times of 50, my sale value still being 50,000, my export turnover for the purpose of refund is reducing. It is 15 rupees, that is Indian sale price, into 1.5 into number of units sold in the global market. That is 45,000 and not 50,000. I hope now by this example, by this illustration, the topic is clearer, and you would agree that the second approach is much more practical and usable, and definitely what the government wants us to do. So that's it. Now let's go to second example. But before that, let me go 2 slides back and show you something once again. तो आपको याद होगा हमने ये डिस्कस किया था कि एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर जो है ये चेंज नहीं हुआ है इवन आफ्टर 23 मार्च 2020. सो व्हाट डज दिस मीन एग्जैक्टली? लेट्स कम टू द इलस्ट्रेशन वंस अगेन. यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे मेरा लोकल टर्नओवर है 1500, मेरा एक्सपोर्ट टर्नओवर है 45,000. तो मेरा डिनोमिनेटर जो है या मेरा टोटल एडजस्टेड टोटल टर्नओवर जो है इट शुड हैव बीन the total of these two, that is 46,500, right? But it is not the same. जो ये मेरा टोटल है वो मेरा ये है actual value of my export and actual value of my Indian sales, which is coming to 51,500. Let's take this particular part as a separate illustration so that it is more clearer. तो आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे कि मेरा वैल्यू ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट्स 50,000 है, बट मेरा turnover of exports for rule 89(4) is 45,000. अगर उसको मैं 51,000 कर देता तो मुझे 1942 का रिफंड आता. दैट इज बिफोर 23 मार्च. अगर मैं कंप्यूटेशन करता रिफंड का तो मेरा रिफंड आता 1942, 1942. Because of this problem, now my turnover has become 45,000. So my refund has become 1748, 1748, और मेरा रिडक्शन हो रहा है नियरली 194 रुपीज का. यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड एंड यू वुड रियली रिलेट टू द फैक्ट कि 50,000 की वैल्यू में मेरा जो डिफरेंस आ रहा है इज कमिंग ऑलमोस्ट 200 रुपीज. जस्ट इंक्रीज द जीरो बियॉन्ड 50,000. इसको आप 5 क्रॉस करिए, ये मेरा चेंज हो जाएगा 2 lakhs के आसपास. So that is the impact that half of an amendment has brought to us. Now there have been representations to the government कि आप इसको change करिए. आप numerator को change कर रहे हैं, denominator को भी change करिए. But I don't think the government has brought any clarification or any changes in the revised rule as of yet. Definitely we are expecting वो आएगा, but अब तक तो नहीं आया. Now I hope the concept that has evolved is much clearer to us. But I would also like to point out on few of the discussion points wherein number of things are not clearer, or the rule is still open to debates, issues, litigations. Definitely we have seen कि GST में ऐसे बहुत सारे provisions है जिनकी वजह से अमेंडमेंट्स आने के बाद, क्लैरिफिकेशन आने के बाद लिटिगेशंस बढ़ जाती है. So rather than government bringing the clarifications in piecemeal, I think it is better for the government, for the tax authorities to go through various points that have been captured or observed by the industry over a period and captured over here. So let's go into this one by one. While the list is not exhaustive, it covers the most of the typical problems that this rule, the amended rule, would throw at the people who are applying for refunds. So the first question, which already would have been there in your mind, is what is like goods? What is similar goods? अगर आप I'm sorry, I'm just going a few steps back. अगर आप यहाँ पे देखेंगे तो यहाँ क्या बोला हुआ है? Or the value, which is 1.5 times value of like goods domestically supplied by same or similarly placed supplier as declared by the supplier, whichever is less. तो यहाँ पे इसका बोलने का मतलब क्या है कि if in our example the manufacturer who is manufacturing mobiles is only selling it outside India, he is not selling even a single piece in India. The government is saying कि ठीक है आपके पास नहीं है, आप किसी और सिमिलर पर्सन के पास जाइए जो सिमिलर गुड्स बना रहा है and just take his price. So in a very raw language, let me tell you what it means. Nokia इंडिया में गुड्स बना रहा है, मोबाइल्स बना रहा है. Nokia will be selling it to say US, and Nokia is not selling even a single piece in India. But at the same time there is Samsung which is selling goods in India as well as US and maybe other countries. So government is telling to Nokia, okay, no problem. You are not manufacturing any goods in India. You're not selling any goods in India. I'm sorry. You take the sale price of Samsung. Very easy, very simple. Is it? It's not. Nokia ka product is completely different. Samsung is completely different. How can you match Nokia to Samsung? So it is very difficult to consider the value of like goods and understanding what is a similarly placed supplier. Similarly placed supplier का मतलब क्या है? Someone who is selling similar goods or someone who is selling similar goods in your locality or in your country. So ये सारे questions है जो बहुत ही raw है. Again, when you say similarly placed supplier, let's come to point 2. What would be the impact of pricing strategies? उसका प्राइसिंग अलग होगा, हमारा अलग होगा. उसका छोड़ो, हमारे अगर Nokia has say 3 units, one in Maharashtra, another in Gujarat, third in Karnataka. तीनों जगह पे, depending on the conditions, the final product which is manufacturing would have a different pricing altogether. So how to understand that again is open. Suppose Maharashtra is manufacturing 1 lakh units per month. Karnataka is just manufacturing 2,000 rupees per month. वो नया है. So the variable cost, the fixed cost for Karnataka unit would be higher than compared to Maharashtra unit. So how would you correlate that? There would be different Incoterms. Samsung would be giving delivering goods at doorsteps of the supplier, while Nokia would just be delivering goods outside its own factory. How would you take care of that? There would be different sale policies. Suppose let's take an example कि Nokia नया है market में, Samsung is there since ages. तो फिर वो case में Nokia will definitely price its goods at lower price than Samsung. So in this case, how will you consider what is a similarly placed buyer, similarly placed supplier, what is like goods? Then again, whether I have to consider the similarly placed supplier and like goods for each and every state, or should I consider just one pricing across the nation? This also is not clear. So that also needs clarity. Now हमने डिटरमाइन कर लिया से वी वेंट टू सैमसंग. उनका जो एकदम नया और जो एकदम क्या बोलते हैं लाइक टू लाइक प्रोडक्ट जो रहेगा विद नोकिया's गुड्स, हमने वो पकड़ लिया. Now what? Now whether we'll give a CA certificate to say that we went there, we saw this, or we'll just give a management representation, or we will be considering a standard pricing for goods. The government will be coming out with some norms. Nothing is clear in this regard. तो फिर मतलब पता कैसे चलेगा? मैं तो ऐसे ही बोल दूंगा कि चलो मैं तो जाके आया, सैमसंग को मिल के आया, उन्होंने ये बोला है, मैं दे रहा हूँ. Do I need to give any copy of Samsung's product of sales being made in India? If yes, कौन से टाइम का? आज का, 2 महीने पहले का, 1 साल पहले का? How would I determine that? That is an issue. Another issue which we already discussed is the 5th one कि मेरा जो denominator है is not changing. So my adjusted turnover अगर उसका definition change हो जाता है, so in my previous example, if you see here, my refund amount is coming to 1748. If I change that, it will increase up to 1935. Definitely it is lesser than what I would have got before 23rd March. But you see the difference. It is coming 7 rupees in this case if I change my denominator, and which again look practical, right? That is an issue. Again, as I told you, representations have already gone to the government and they are working on it probably. The next one is, अगर आप देखेंगे तो ये जो change है, it has come on 23rd March 2020. Now tell me, nowhere in the rule it is written that it is applicable only for refunds which will be for tax period post 23rd March or post 1st April. तो मुझे समझना क्या है, आज आपको अगर पता होगा तो I get 2 years to claim or to file my refund application. So suppose मैं आज बैठ के जून 2018 का रिफंड क्लेम अगर मैं फाइल कर रहा हूँ इन से अप्रैल 2018 और May 2020, I'm sorry. So in this case, do you think I should be applying this particular formula? क्योंकि मुझे तब तो पता नहीं था, मुझे 1.5 टाइम्स कंसिडर करना पड़ेगा. So actually it is a kind of injustice on me. If you particularly say कि okay, ये दिन के बाद से जो भी टैक्स पीरियड होगा उसके रिफंड पे हम आपको ये प्रोविजन अप्लाई करेंगे, fair enough. But I think for previous period again government should come out with clarity कि previous period का जो है that is up to 2020 के tax period का refunds being filed after 1st April 2020, this provision will not apply. And similar to sixth, I have seventh point that suppose आपने जून 2018 का रिफंड ऑलरेडी अप्लाई कर लिया है somewhere in March 2020, but it got rejected or you got a deficiency letter in April 2020, that is after the amendment coming into place. So now just for reapplying, will you change your methodology and consider the 1.5 wala restriction, or you would go make the necessary changes as were given in the deficiency letter and refile that claim? And that is a clarity which is awaited from the tax authorities. So this was one part of it. uh, there are also other refund related topics like rule 96b, wherein the government has been saying that for export of goods also now you will be required to give the remittance details. So, एक side, if you happen to know, government is issuing 18,000 crores a refund, or it is setting aside 18,000 crore rupees for refund. On the other hand, it is catching hold of exporters by introducing such kind of rules and provisions. So there is a you know kind of an imbalance. Again, I would not say these provisions should not be introduced, but आप एक साथ ये सब लाओगे तो टैक्स पेयर्स पे जो स्पेशली जो एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं उन पे थोड़ा बर्डन बढ़ जाता है. So you might want to introduce it in phased manner and again make it a bit open and lower the restrictions, make it more liberal and introduce the restrictions over a period of time जिससे आपका revenue भी hit नहीं होगा in a long time, and definitely the taxpayers would get absorbed to these changes over a period of time. They will be able to get accustomed to all these things. So that's it from me. Just one point that all these views that we discuss, whatever comments I'm making, are strictly on my personal note. Uh, these are only no, and this is only an opinion, or these are just my thoughts. It doesn't have anything to do with my current firm or my ex firm or any other organization that I'll be working with. And again, these are my thoughts. The tax authorities might adopt a different policy altogether. So while you may refer to it, this may not be used as a reference in any code of law. So I hope you like this video. I thank Shilpa to bring me to this forum, and I hope I was able to make some difference in a positive way, so that you were able to understand what I was trying to explain. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you so much for giving a detailed view on this topic. Uh, you have clarified many open issues, which though the government has brought this amendment, still there are certain things which needs to be still taken care of before implementing this amendment. Those open issues are also highlighted by you. I hope government looks into this matter and comes up with an early reply, so that the exporters whose refund is still stuck up with all the small issues at least get a clarity that yes, they have to follow this part of, or this the amendment needs to be followed in this way. Thank you, Hiren. Thank you so much for giving that valuable time.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for this video.